This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1622, Previews!
Opinions like the seasons and everything you read in comics, movies, games, toys, artists, comics.
That's what I see every time.
I know. Don't pull your cords out.
Uniting the world's mightiest heroes. This is...
I'm Brian Chrisman.
I'm Shane Kelly.
I'm Adam Murdo.
And I'm Chris Everly.
In the studio and in color.
I thought you were going with same bat time, same bat channel. I guess that was at the end, though.
Yeah,
It's going to be a silly one, folks. Just
welcome to
brace
the
yourselves.
show. Yes, we have Chris Everly live in the studio.
Pantaloons, it's an honor to be home once again, and to be in the co-pilot's chair next to you is a heartfelt honor, sir.
Where's your rent check?
Love that quip.
Pay up!
Oh, rapier wit.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, once again, this is our previews episode, talking about books. This is the September previews catalog for items shipping to stores, mostly starting in November of 2016. And as always, our previews episodes are brought to you by the fine folks at Discount Comic Book Service. Go to dcbservice.com for all your pre-ordering needs. You've heard me say it many times, and it's true. When you pre-order from them any Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, or Image books, they are right away 40% off cover price. Most of your other publishers are between 20 and 35% off cover price. And they also run many specials where you can get an issue for 45, 50, 60, sometimes even 75% off cover price. They run many other specials, like they're continuing any new DC or Marvel trade or hardcover is half off cover price. They are continuing their Rebirth bundles from DC at half off. Several books bundled together.
I pulled back last month. I couldn't.
We'll get to some of those later. They can get you bags and boards. You can get your book shipped weekly, twice monthly. I'm always adding books that I forgot to add, and they're always good adding them on there within a reasonable time frame, like about a month or two behind. You still got the discounts that they're originally at, so they're great. So check them out. Discounts Comic Book Service, dcbservice.com.
You don't see the other side when they read the email and go, oh, it's pants again.
Well, hey, they're taking my money, so
That's
they say,
right.
ooh,
That's
more
right.
money from pants. It's always good. All right, any news bit before we jump right into previews here? Well, I'll talk at length later on, maybe in a couple of weeks or so, on our comic talk about my Baltimore Comic Con experience, because it was fun, and I don't want to hold up a previous episode, but a good time was had by me and all. And I got crabs.
Did you say you got crabs?
I did say I got crabs.
Oh, okay.
Oh, now he's thinking about it. Come on, it's a dumb thing I say. Everybody says it, so...
I'm pretty sure I never said that.
It's a very Baltimore thing to say.
Exactly.
Well, I just love when you get randy about things. You know,
I'm good without the randiness.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
nonsense.
All right. All right, well, let's start again. We did, I think, the last couple times that October 29th of this year is Halloween Comic Fest. So, Chris, talk about that as a retailer, what that's all about.
Yes, thank you, brother. So, Halloween Comic Fest, as many listeners probably know, is essentially Free Comic Book Day Part 2 for each year. So, Diamond makes available to retailers, you have to pay a small amount for each copy, a variety of free comics produced by most of the major publishers. And on Halloween Comic Fest, which I'm so thankful is not actually on Halloween like it was last year, which was disastrous, on October 29th, so a few days before Halloween, we put out all the books. People can come in and pluck what they want.
Or pick what they want.
Indeed. And
You pluck them, you buy them.
And
I'm sorry. Keep it up. I'm slowing everybody down now. It's my
never
fault.
apologize for the pantsiness. Now, we, like many stores, we make a whole event out of the day. So we're going to be doing what's essentially become our annual fall sale, which coincides with Halloween Comic Fest. And I have a lot of the details, if I may share them at this point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty. So
Hit me.
we'll be open on that day from 12 to 6 p.m. That's a Saturday, which is our normal hours on a Saturday, actually.
I'll be there at 9.
honored brother. I'll certainly be there at 9.
8:45 for me.
And we're going to have, we always restock, in the months leading up to the event. So we'll have a lot of fresh back issues. We'll have, again, about 30,000 50-cent comics from beat-up Silver Age all the way into the modern era. Those will be 25% off 50 cents.
37.5 cents. You do
Exactly, sir.
2 for 75 cents.
Huh.
I have a degree in math.
I've been sort of returning to sort of higher price sticker back issues, but again, everything's already priced well below guide, and then those prices will be 25% off. We'll have 25% off both our new and used selection of trade paperbacks, 25% off our kids' comics, and we're going to have, of course, an auction at approximately 3 p.m. I don't have all the items yet, but I can tell you that we will have some statues. We'll have some IDW artist editions. We'll have some, let's say, some sort of higher-end wall books. Probably anywhere from 6 to 10 items. As we get closer to the date, I'll start to reveal what those actually are. Some we have, we're still waiting on. But
Do you have a Coke?
I actually had a, yeah. I don't usually do that, but I did before the show. Yeah. How can you tell? I'm wired.
A little bit.
I love when you go all Looney Tunes like that. Outstanding.
That's all, folks.
And it's, as always, we at Wild Pig, we would like to celebrate, especially on a day like this, the comic book medium and our love for the comic book medium. And it's just a fun day. And if you're anywhere in the region, you can get to the store if you're not too far away. And especially if you're a big fan of everything we've just been describing, please come, because unlike a lot of other shops, our sales are genuine. You are not just getting a fake discount on something that's really overpriced. Everything is way below guide in most cases, and we always try to have a great selection. And it's just a lot of fun. And I'm sure there'll be people popping in costumes, and it's just a good time. And I think all of you gentlemen will be there at some point or another.
That's the plan.
During the day.
Yep.
So you can also meet some of the legendary geeks of Comic Geek Speak.
Please.
If you can make the trek. So that's on Halloween Comic Fest, Saturday, October 29th. And more information, more details to follow.
At wildpigcomics.com. And the store is located at 14 South Michigan Avenue, Kenilworth, New Jersey. Zip code is
07033. Minutes from Route 22 and Garden State Parkway, exit 138.
Awesome.
Thanks, honey.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Siri, direct me to Wild Pig.
All right. Well, let's jump in at the usual starting point, Dark Horse Comics. And how about this? We talked about not too long ago about TV shows and comics continuing. Buffy Season 11, number 1 in comics.
Yep.
I'm happy to see that continuing. So there's been Seasons 8, 9, and 10 in the comics. Now Season 11. The show only ran for 7 seasons.
Right.
I think this is a great idea. Now, again, I'm way behind. I'm still in Season 9, but I'm happy to see this going on. Rebecca Isaacs and Christos Gage return for Season 11, and, of course, Issue 1 through DCBS is half off the cover price.
Now, like you, Pants, I got my own fault just because the reading it piled up. I'm still somewhere in Season 9. But what I read up to that point, they so well capture seamlessly, I think, the spirit and energy of that show and the Buffyverse. And the voices of the different characters. And if you love that show, certainly as I did, and you haven't tried the comics yet, I highly recommend them because it is the show. It's just in a comic book, but it's the show, essentially. I was looking on page 47, a new offering from Matt Kint. Ether, number 1. A science-minded adventure gets mixed up in the mysteries of fantasy world in this charming new adventure from an award-winning creative team. Boone Diaz is an interdimensional explorer, a scientist from Earth who has stumbled into great responsibility. He's got an explanation for everything, so of course the Ether's magic residents turned him to solve their toughest crimes. Maybe keeping the real and the abstract separate is too big a job for just one man. I'm ashamed to say I haven't read much Matt Kint yet in my comic book reading career, which is a terrible oversight I have to correct.
Yeah.
But everyone I think, like Brian Deemer, is a huge fan of Kint's work.
Sure is.
Basically, everybody whose tastes I respect all speak very highly of this creator. So I got to get on the bandwagon there.
Yep. Interesting premise he's working with there, too. Science fiction character solving crimes in a magical world. Some very whimsical-looking artwork from David Rubin. Page 51, we've got another one of Dark Horse's graphic adaptations of Neil Gaiman's stories. This one is called Forbidden Brides of the Faceless Slaves in the Secret House of the Night of Dread Desire. It's
As only Murd can recite that.
Thank you, sir. Mm-hmm. It's satire. It's about a man who's trying to write nonfiction, which is defined here as stories about frail women in white nightgowns, mysterious bumps in the night, and the undead rising to collect old debts. So it's set in a world in which Gothic fiction is real, and so it kind of changes the definition of fantasy and the nature of the writing of fiction, and it's kind of a meditation on all that stuff. Plus, it's also a loving spoof of Gothic fantasy lit. And it was a prose short story Gaiman wrote and published some time ago. Now it's being adapted with with graphic accompaniment by Shane Oakley. And sounds wonderful, except it's only 48 pages long, and it's being marketed as a $17.99 hardcover.
Right, you can get it for 40% off at $10.79 through DCBS, of course.
Yeah, even so. I'd be more comfortable paying like $5 for it.
Only wait for the trade, sir.
Maybe I will. And then I'll wait to buy it at Heroes Con.
It's a good point, Murd, about what a send-up that this fun title is. I think of in the Bronze Age when DC briefly flirted with Gothic romance comics. The Dark Mansion of Forbidden Love, I think, was one. Sinister Secret House or something like that. So very much in keeping with that type of title. So the art on the cover is gorgeous. Wow. Magnificent.
I had missed on page 50 another thing by Matt Kent, Department H or Depth. Number 8 of an issue, but number 1 of a trade paperback or hardcover volume in this case. So I might check that out. I missed that the first 7 issues.
Although it hasn't come out yet, I'm still looking forward to reading Tarzan on the Planet of the Apes. The third issue is listed here. I've yet to receive issue 1. I really enjoyed this, and it's written by Tim Seeley, so I have very high expectations for it.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the Star Trek Planet of the Apes crossover they did not too long ago.
And Adam, you still getting a Black Hammer?
You bet.
I just got issue number. Have you read issue 2 yet?
I have it in hand. I got the Jeff Lemire variant cover featuring Golden Gale, and I haven't cracked it open yet.
Because right away you'll get the homage to the character where it's from the Golden Age. I was like, just so well done.
I'm looking forward to reading 2. We discussed earlier in an earlier episode how much we thought just masterful issue 1 was as an opening issue. Yeah. Speaking of masterful number 1 issues, I have to rave on page 57 for Brian Wood's Briggs Land.
Okay.
The first issue. There are a few writers I think who are not. Mm-hmm. There are a few writers who I think are greater masters than he is of the opening issue of a series, and the fact that this guy can just seem to master any genre in terms of story content. The first issue deals with a family who has created sort of this. They own a large amount of property in upstate New York, and they created essentially like a secessionist compound of families who don't really acknowledge the authority of the United States government. Okay. And in this very first issue, Wood expertly lays out the sort of the ruling family of this community, the political dynamic between the parents, the siblings, the clear backbiting, the betrayals as the different people jockey for power over this community. One of the strongest first issues I've read in 2016, without question. So I'm really excited to read subsequent issues of this book. And once again, Brian Wood is just one of my go-to writers in comics. I've yet to read anything by him I haven't enjoyed. Period. What else in Dark Horse, gentlemen?
Not too
I
much
didn't have
else
anything
for
else in Dark
me.
Horse.
A lot of ongoing series.
Yeah.
Moving on to DC.
Surely.
Certainly.
So DC continues to expand their new Young Animal imprint.
Yes. Mother Panic #1. They talked about this briefly at Baltimore, and because it's a nice bundle for half off, again, for all the Young Animal books, I'm going to buy them all. But it sort of takes place in Gotham, sort of in the background there. And this is a new character. The other books are older characters, redone, but this is a brand new character. But yeah, so check that out. That's part of the half off bundle at DCBS. Now, Murd, they were talking about at the DC Rebirth panel in Baltimore, Cave Carson has a cybernetic eye. Mm-hmm. That line comes from, I believe they mentioned a Who's Who entry. That's the line from a Who's Who entry. They can't find where that comes from. They can't find any book where he has a cybernetic eye. What can you tell us about that?
Try Resurrection Man.
Oh, okay.
He did appear as part of the Forgotten Heroes, actually, in there.
Okay.
Because Mitch Shelley, the Resurrection Man, there was some mysterious connection between him and the Immortal Man, who was a member of the Forgotten Heroes pre-Crisis. So towards the end of that run, the Abnett and Lanning Resurrection Man run for like late 90s, Cave Carson did show up, and I kind of think he had a cybernetic eye at that point.
Honestly, God, to Pat, mentioned that, and they said, we have no idea where that's from. So, excellent. Thank you, Bert. I appreciate that.
And why would it be in a Who's Who? Because they were years before.
Well, they mentioned that the line appears somewhere either in a Who's Who or a description.
It might have been the DC Encyclopedia.
It might have been that. They mentioned where they pulled it from, and no one knew where that came from. Excellent. Once again, I'm happy he's on our side for good and not for evil.
Well, once again, Pants, to further to sort of second your sentiment, again, I'll do the usual analogy. That's the equivalent of you're in battle. You need ammunition. Murd is always there.
With a bucket of fresh rounds and a salty grin.
I just wanted to mention as we go through the DC section, the various Rebirth titles. At the very end of the summer, I tried to catch up on a lot of titles, so I read a lot of the Rebirth issues. I'm sorry to say I've not read the Batman issues yet, but loving Batgirl and the Birds of Prey. I thought the second issue was even better than the first one. Aquaman is outstanding by Abnett. Really enjoyed Seeley's take on Nightwing.
That's my next one. I want to read his
Excellent.
Nightwing.
Justice League. I just think Brian Hitch is a better penciler than he's a writer. But
agreed.
It was solid, but not as good as the other books I mentioned, in my opinion. But overall, I haven't read everything, but I'm enjoying what DC's doing with a lot of these Rebirth titles. And we'll talk about Deathstroke, which I'm very excited to discuss in our next OTR episode.
Yep, in detail.
So, anybody have any comments on any of the? These are all ongoing series.
Right. And I'm because I got a couple of bundles. I got 30-some issues to go through.
Yeah,
because I get them all monthly, so it's like, oh my God, I got to find time to read that. And
I did really good with the first month, and now I'm stuck with a pile. Not stuck, but not in a bad way. But yeah, I have a lot to go through. I did pull out Blue Beetle Rebirth and read that. I enjoyed it a lot. It was fun to see Ted back in the fold.
So it lived up to your expectations?
It did. I'd like more. I really want Booster and Beetle, but maybe that'll come down the road. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to read.
And I thought of you, Shane, because I sat down and I read the entire Lois and Clark miniseries by Jurgens and Lee Weeks and some other artists.
Yeah,
that was wonderful.
That's
fabulous.
I got the trade. I have to read that. Yeah.
And Superman, the Superman title with him and his family in that continues that for me.
It does. Okay.
To me,
That's
does.
encouraging.
Yeah. They do a great job of bringing in his son and being very, very family oriented, very father-son.
And you saw that. You already saw the beginnings of that in the miniseries.
Yeah.
And we often forget what a great handle Dan Jurgens has on Superman and that world. And I'm so glad they have him writing that title. It was wonderful.
Yep. It's a little oasis for people who aren't happy with the way the New 52 version of various characters have been handled. But, so this is a little bit of pre-New 52 ethos brought through. That take on Superman is now active in the post-New 52 universe.
I also want to put out, I'm enjoying, he's one of my favorite writers. This shouldn't be a surprise. Greg Rucka's take on Wonder Woman.
That's a fabulous book as well.
And what's interesting, he's alternating between revisiting her origin and then discussing a current story, which has a fantastic new take on the cheetah.
Yeah.
He's one of the best writers in the business as far as I'm concerned. But a lot of good stuff in the Rebirth.
I've enjoyed Detective. I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy the direction they're going to go if what comes to pass does, and I'm not going to say what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Those that don't know or haven't heard.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be a low point for me. But I'm enjoying it so far.
Sorry, Shane. I want to put on issue 121. DC's the Murd and Pants, and I'm sure all of you remember this. They're bringing back the new talent showcase concept.
Interesting, yeah.
Remember, I think that was the early 80s, I think.
I was wondering where that came from because I don't remember it. I didn't get into comics until 86.
Yeah, sort of. I know of it. In fact, it's very famously the last issue, which I can't find anywhere because it's number 19, is features Darwin Cook's first appearances of artwork.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, New Talent Showcase 19. I've never seen it.
Oh, wow.
Very low print run, I'm sure.
Yeah, again, a tail ender, a book like New Talent Showcase, I really want to get this.
Do we know what characters he rendered in that?
I don't. I can probably look it up at some point, but maybe.
Or 8 on the forums.
Probably
as well.
an original concept. not like an existing DC.
Right.
That's not usually what happened in New Talent Showcase, but not so in this new volume.
Huh.
It's existing characters, but new talent.
Mert, I'm sorry. I think we skipped over the annual you wanted to discuss,
Oh, this
right?
isn't a unidirectional process here. We can always go back. Page 89, Batman Annual number 1. DC's actually putting out a couple of annuals in November here. And this one is it's going to be on sale November 30th. The theme is Silent Night, and it's going to be a bunch of Batman stories which appear to have a wintry/winter holiday theme to them. Written by Tom King, Scott Snyder, Paul Dini, Steve Orlando, and Scott Wilson.
Wow.
Impressive array of talent there.
Sure
Art
is.
by David Finch, Riley Rossmo, Neil Adams, eyebrow goes up, and others. So it's impressive array of talent on both sides, really. And so it's 48 pages of story. 48 pages. Some of it ads, I'm sure. $4.99. I'm going to be buying and reading that, I think.
And we should point out for our listeners that for our OTRs for this month, we're all each doing
Now, don't abbreviate.
Off the racks.
off the racks.
Yes, we're fiddling with the format a little bit this time out.
Why don't you go ahead and explain, Mert?
Okay. Well, we're going to be doing one Marvel book and one independent book that all of us will read and comment upon, and then each of us is going to kind of go our own way for the third selection. And this is the one that I've decided I'll be responsible for, and anybody else who happens to buy and read that issue can join me in discussing it if they so choose. Shane,
Yeah.
you on board there?
Yeah, I'll be getting
Brother,
Batman.
you can count on it.
All right. Excellent.
According to Comic Book DB, Darwin Cook's contribution to the New Talent Showcase 19, he wrote and drew a story called The Private Eye.
Wow.
I don't have any other information other than that. So
I wonder if it's Slam Bradley.
I don't know. I would think we'd have it listed here, but that's one book I'd love to find in my collection
Interesting.
somehow. So if you have it at Wild Pig Comics' Great Sale, put aside for pants.
I highly... They're the third person. I don't think we have it, but Pants, if we ever come across it, I'll snag it for you right away.
Thank you, sir.
Shane, I want to ask you a question. We're on page 110. I've yet to read Titans.
Love
How is it?
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah?
That is probably, boy, I don't,
Top tier in the Rebirth?
top
Yeah.
tier. That's
Especially because it deals a lot with Wally West's
So
journey.
is it starting to delve into that mystery a little
Oh
bit?
yeah,
It is.
absolutely.
Okay, so I have to
That's
read
where
that.
you go if you want to find out what's going on with those missing years or what happened to Wally and everybody else.
So they are starting to plunge into that a little
Yeah.
bit then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
I mean,
Again,
you're not knee deep in it yet,
Right.
But he's so far he's gone around and gotten everybody involved that he wanted to visit all, for the most part, the original Titans,
Mm-hmm.
and they're remembering him and starting to
So
investigate.
they are remembering him.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Let us
Page-
celebrate on page 122.
Superpowers #1
Ah, yes.
by Art Balthazar and Franco.
Huzzah.
I
Indeed.
cannot wait. That's going to be a fun book.
Oh, yeah, the world's greatest heroes are back in a new all-ages miniseries, except for Batman. Superman helps out by cleaning up in Gotham City, where he discovers a clue that sends Wonder Woman into space to find the Cape Crusader. Her journey brings her a step closer to Batman, but can she uncover the truth behind his disappearance? In immediately.
Half off first issue, $1.49.
Can't wait. Anytime they get on a book, man.
Is
I'm
anybody
all
reading
aboard.
Batman 66 meets Steed and Mrs. Peel?
No, I'm
I'm
waiting
not.
for the hardback. I have all the regular Batman 66 issues I have. All the miniseries, I have only the hardbacks. So, like, they've had a couple
Okay.
miniseries.
Right.
So as soon as that comes out, I'll get the hardback and read it then.
I love the all-red art. It's so perfect.
I'm sure.
Speaking of perfect, I can go wrong on page 127 with Scooby-Doo Team Up 20 meeting Space Ghost.
I know. Oh, another awesomeness.
Yep, that's now monthly, by the way. As
Oh,
of the-
really?
yeah, as of
Terrific.
the last catalog before this one, it's monthly.
Is it? I just order it when I see it. I never really realized it was or was not monthly.
Yep, so apparently we're not the only ones who love it. Has anybody noticed there's not one but 2 Starro appearances in this month's DC previews?
Good call, Murray.
No, I saw one. Where's the other one?
The New Superman.
Yep, that's the one I saw.
Or just New Superman, I mean, number 5. Somebody's
the other one?
setting off a Starro bomb. On page 97, Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, number 9.
Son of a... Gosh darn it.
There's that big, crazy, concentric circle.
Now I'm going to have
eye
to
right
get
there.
those issues too. You bugger.
Pantaloons, are you salivating over page 128?
Let me see. Oh, the gallery editions. Well, these things are wonderful. I love them, but good God, they're expensive. They take up a lot of room. Again, first world problems, but I love it. I think it's a great concept. Give me more, give me more, give me more, and then give me some more.
And it's Kelly Jones doing
Kelly
Dead
Jones,
Man. I mean,
yeah.
look at that cover.
I have the Batman one. I haven't opened it yet. I ordered it.
the Kelly Jones Batman one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay.
How long have you had it unopened?
As soon as it came out, I
When did
ordered
it come out?
Oh, a year ago.
What?
Maybe even more than
I-
that.
I'm going to go to your house and find it.
No,
open
no,
up.
no.
No, yeah.
I put it aside, and I'm waiting for a moment.
A moment.
I have all the other ones open, all the other ones I've acquired. But yeah, I've been
A moment.
waiting for a good day to open that one and enjoy it.
You're crazy.
Some great trades in the next couple pages. I always enjoyed the story Death and the Maidens.
Yeah, that was a good story.
Oh, yes, with Rachel Gould. I think
Yep.
they introduced Nissa.
Yeah.
It's a great
And
story.
Talia, and they're reissuing it here in a deluxe hardcover. Classic Greg Rucka, art by Klaus Janson. Shane, they have a Batman 66 Volume 5 trade paperback on page 131.
I already have the hardback.
And I'm glad DC's continuing to reprint some of their classic kids' comics based on their
I am too.
animated properties. So you have Batman and Robin Adventures Volume 1 trade paperback on page 131.
I hope that stays in the same format as the previous ones, where it's the nice paper I like,
Yes.
and not the crappy shiny paper that the Superman Adventures is on. Because thank goodness my younger son likes to read those because he's getting them.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. I don't want them. I want the Batman ones with the nice paper.
See, I love these rants you have on the production. Like when you,
You know-
when you go on about the omnibuses being too thick.
That drives me up the wall. I'm happy for omnibuses, but just make them the Starman
Omnibuses?
omnibuses, the Starman omnibuy, the Starman
Omnibuses.
volumes are the perfect
They are
size.
perfect, I agree.
There is no other format that shouldn't be any larger than that. I'll give you a pass on the Hawkman one because that's not bad
That's a
either.
great omnibus, Hawkman one.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Yeah. But this with the paper really chaps my butt, man. When you're sitting in a chair reading and the lamp is over you, I got to constantly adjust the lamp or move because the paper is reflective.
So I think some of the omnibuses, if you want to go about it in
No.
sort of a...
Now the omnibuses are fine; they have good paper too.
Yeah.
This trade of like the Batman and Robin Adventures and the Batman Adventures has the nice more newsprint kind of paper that is not only reminiscent of when I was starting and reading tons of comics as a kid. It's much easier to read. But that Superman Adventures volumes, there's 2 of them out so far. That's extremely shiny, thinner paper, which probably has something to do with cost. But it's really hard to read.
Now, my buttocks aren't as chapped as yours are by that, but I can appreciate what you're saying. And just being so much of a traditionalist and so nostalgic in so many ways, I just prefer the old newsprint,
Yeah.
too. Plus, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
What I was going to say about some of the omnibuses, I know you've lamented how fat some of them are.
It's a pain in the butt.
Go almost like an old gentleman. Put on your smoking jacket, the ascot, a pipe. Get one of those like big
ascot.
podiums, like a stand.
Well-
Open the book up and just stand there and go through the pages.
I've thought about a podium for some of the art editions, those larger things like what we were just talking about. But I don't know. I'm lazy. I want to sit.
I understand,
But I did
brother.
think about like a music stand or something
Exactly.
to flip comics through. Yeah. Especially the stupid
Pants, are
shiny
you a big
paper
fan of
ones.
Birds of Prey? They continue to reprint Chuck Dixon's run.
That's a great one.
I was going to say, I love these rants, but I'm going to give you the wave up signal here in a minute. Come on, let's keep it going.
But see, for you, and let me take your hand for just a moment. 52, Volume 2 trade paperback on page 132.
I see that.
And I got to say, I think DC's dropped the ball. They kept this out of print way too long.
Oh, I'm still
Way
looking for
too
volume
long in
4
terms
of the
trade
regular
paperbacks.
trades.
Yeah, so I'm glad to see they're giving these the proper treatment. And they resolicit The Flash by Mark Waid, book 1 on the opposite page.
Yep, that's a good one too.
Classic stuff.
I see they're doing a trade of the Firestorm feature from the Legends of Tomorrow anthology.
As well as Metalman and Metamorpho is also in here as well. That's
good.
Following up Sugar and Spike, which we all agreed was the best feature from that.
Yes. I just finished issue 6. Oh, it's so good. And I lamented, I just thought about that as I finished reading it. Keith Giffen was down at Baltimore, and he was like right there. I never thought to talk to him about how much I love Sugar and Spike. I was like kicking myself when I got home.
In fact, at Wild Pig, we ordered extra copies of the Sugar and Spike trade. We're going to do a special offer. We want people to read that book. Because I think it's that
It's
good. People should be aware of it.
Excellent.
I haven't read them yet. I have them, but I haven't read them yet.
Just quickly on page 134, it
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
like they're wrapping up the Dark Side War in trade paperback, which I've yet to read. I'm looking
I
forward
enjoyed
to
it.
that.
I really did. I thought it was a little bit long in the middle, but it really was well done.
And then the opposite page, I love I love the look of these.
I do
these,
too. Silver Age
It's
volumes.
like it's the new Chronicles.
Michael
essentially.
Show covers.
Yeah, these larger reprints of DC's Gold and Silver Age history, JLA Volume 2, the Silver Age.
In full color.
Yep. I got to mention on page 1 through 9 how excited they're doing a Lost Boys comic as a sequel. It's one of my favorite films.
Yes, indeed.
Anything for Vertigo, gentlemen?
They're
Well,
continuing to reprint the Sandman Mystery Theater.
Without question, in my mind,
thank God.
one of the best DC series of the 1990s, without question.
I had the first 1 or 2 volumes of the old format. I got rid of them. I got the first volume of the first one. I'm glad to see the second one. I'll be ordering that.
If you love the Golden Age and you want to see the Golden Age sort of reassessed in a very noirish, very gritty, and very adult and dark. I don't mean adult meaning pornographic, just adult sensibilities.
Right.
This is the book you should read because
wait.
it's the Golden Age. There's like other Golden Age characters that appear, but boy, is it gritty.
And volume 1 has the right paper. I'm not kidding. I love it.
And also, I think probably the most mature renderings of a romantic relationship I've ever seen in a comic ever between Wesley Dodds and Diane Belmont.
Again, another thing I have in my collection, some were the issues. Just, I don't know why I never read the whole thing. Now I got to find it and read it. I hate these things when you make me want to read things when I don't have time to read them.
Imagine how many thousands of people out there in the world hate all of us for exactly that reason.
Well, now I know why.
So many things, Pants. One of them is to torment you in this loving fashion.
Yes. Oh, and on page you mentioned about page 145, the final issue of the Sheriff of Babylon,
Great series.
issue
I'm behind
12.
on it. It's a great series. Tom King.
Great series.
The man is just firing on all cylinders.
Yeah,
Without
he sure
question,
is.
one of the top writers in the business right now.
Yeah.
Shane, I want to put out some really handsome statues.
Yeah.
On
That,
page 147, that's a fantastic Harley Quinn statue.
in the nice classic outfit.
Yeah.
That is still my favorite.
And the next page, I think that's one of the most beautiful statues DC has done in some time. That is a fantastic Starfire,
Yeah.
based on wonderful art by Amanda Connor.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Beautiful statue. I mean, it's extremely expensive, $130.
I
But
love
it's
the
gorgeous.
page 149, the Batman with the expressions pack.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I am quite tempted
It's
to
$50 though.
spend the $50 to be able to change Batman's expressions. I doubt I will end up ordering it because I always put stuff like this on my list and then quickly remove it when I realize I can't afford it. But what a
You can't
fun,
afford not to get that, Shane.
what a fun concept.
I love the one where he's bleeding from the lip.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
It's only $34 at DCBS, Shane. Only $34.
Murd,
Action
page 151, Super Pets.
Bat cow.
Oh, sure enough. According to Art Balthazar, Bat Cow and a couple of hyenas, I guess? Hyenas
Yeah.
in fancy dress?
Couple hyenas.
Speaking to the listeners, if you have young kids you want to get into reading, the Super Pets series
they're
of books,
fabulous.
which are prose with illustrations, they're just digest size. And then they have that wonderful encyclopedia that you can also get too.
Yep.
They are fantastic. They're just wonderful books. They have a great sense of fun. They create. I mean, Murder. Some of those created just for those series. Are they all based in history?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Quite a
figured
few
some
of them are
were,
these.
like Swamp Thing, for example.
Right.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing's frog or alligator,
Yeah.
whatever it was. Giganta has a pet giraffe. It's not all taken from comics
No.
history, but they're all great fun.
It's
They have
a lot of
wonderful
fun.
sensibility.
The
Perfect
encyclopedia
kids.
is a lot of fun to look through.
Yeah.
I had 4 or 5 volumes of the digest. I gave them to my nieces the last time they were over at the house to read. Yeah, a lot of
Now,
fun.
forgive me. They're not published by DC. I forgot
No.
who publishes them. I'm sorry about that. But
Somewhere in the back.
we have a bunch of Wild Pig. I always try to keep some in. They're
Sure.
fantastic. One IDW, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Page 154 and
Wow,
155,
that.
Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures 1 of 6. I'm quite interested in that. It looks like a lot of fun.
Did you happen to pick up the DC published Batman TMNT?
I didn't, and now I want to go back and get that, so I have that and then this.
You should. Freddie Williams was involved, I believe.
Yeah, I know.
Shane, why don't you talk about page 159?
I cannot tell you how excited I am for finally getting the first issue.
Tell us.
I'm very excited. This is going to be my third pick, so to speak. I mean, because why wouldn't it be? I love this cover.
Did you
the
mention the
larger
name of
cover.
the issue?
Didn't I?
I don't know. Did he? I wasn't
I
paying
don't
attention.
know. No.
Mask Mobile Armored
so
Strike
carried away.
Command #1, written by Brandon Easton and art by Tony Vargas.
It's half off at DCBS, $1.99.
I'm going to order like 7 of them, I think. No.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, limit of, I think, 2 for you.
But that cover on the right is just absolutely fantastic. Everything that I would hope Mask comics to look like. I cannot wait.
You're going to have to wait.
I know, but I don't want to.
Brandon
I'm
Easton guy's
Johnson.
really blowing up in comics right now.
Yeah.
This is the guy. He wrote that Andre the Giant OGN a year or two ago, and he's also been a staff writer for Agent Carter. So
really?
He's been he wrote episodes of that Thundercats animated series that was on Cartoon
okay.
Network a few years ago. So
That was a good series.
He's been around. He's written on a few different media, and now he's getting. He shows up a few different places in this copy of previews.
I have to try and find my old tape cassette of a Mask episode and put it in the jam box and hit the play button to listen to the music as I open a book up. Mask Crusade.
Just in general, IDW continues to really make inroads into the licensed properties.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Holy mackerel.
I forgot. I wanted to say this back at the DC stuff. With all the stuff that they're doing Hanna-Barbera related there, the next thing I want to see out of them for that, Clue Club. I loved Clue Club.
What the hell is Clue Club?
Clue Club was a group of kids,
With
maybe
a
4 or 5,
wacky
with
dog
two
sidekick.
dogs. Two
This
dogs.
is a cartoon?
Cartoon.
Yeah.
The dogs could talk, but the people couldn't understand the dogs, but they could understand the people. So when they were focused on the dogs and the dogs were talking, we, the audience, would get what they're saying. But then they would try to get the attention
When was
of
the
the
show
kids.
on?
Oh,
Early 80s, I
Yeah.
would say? Oh, hold on a second.
late 70s, early
Let's
80s.
take
I
the
don't remember that
guesswork
at all.
out of it.
They all had signal watchers that when they had a mystery, they would light them and go Clue, like CC, Clue Club, Clue Club.
Here we go. 1977.
It might have only been one season.
16 episodes, one season.
Wow.
And I can't tell you how many times I've watched them over and over, thinking as a kid that there were tons of episodes. Fabulous, fabulous cartoon.
Shannon, I hope it happens for you.
Clue Club.
Now that you mentioned that I have a dim memory of the watches you're talking about. That rings a bell.
Go find a clip on YouTube, man. They're out there.
All right, I got to jump ahead.
Yeah. We just talked about this with the gallery
Yeah,
edition.
all right, page 168 and 169. Wait for it.
Isn't that something?
Kirby, Fantastic Four, Artist Edition. What? Enough said. Now, this is due to come out in January. If they meet that date, this will be an auction item at Wild Pig for spring for Free Comic Book Day, without question. Without question, Pam.
I know. I heard you the first time. I heard
You
you.
wouldn't dare question that.
And I'll certainly get a copy for myself as well. So they got work from Fantastic Four Annual 6, which is the birth of Franklin Richards, and then issues 82 and 83, and then they're going to have, probably much like the Thor one they just released, a lot of individual pages from various stories in the back. I mean, it's Kirby. It's Kirby art in the beautiful IDW format.
Yeah.
And as you see on page 169, you can see a lot of the margin notes he was famous for writing, for Lee to follow. This is going to be a historical and artistic trove, without question.
My kingdom for a truckload of money.
Yeah, you and me both.
Look at page 171. I missed this when I went for the book
Yes.
the first time. The Comic Book History of Comics #1, a 6-part miniseries written by Fred Van Lente, artist by Ryan Dunleavy.
Yeah, they've done, what was it, Action Philosophers?
Yeah.
There was another one, was it about presidents? I wish I could remember what the other one was about. But they've done a couple of these history-based comics.
Yep.
Now this is a book about history of comics.
Yeah, well, they've done it before, but it was in black and white, though, and I think it was like one volume.
Ah, okay.
But now it's serialized and it's in full color from IDW.
I'm going to get this. I'm going to talk about Kirby, Crumb, Kurtzman, Moore, Lee, Eisner, Wortham, Lichtenstein, Spiegelman. I mean, that's the great manga artist Tezuka. I mean, this is wow. I'm looking forward to that.
Up on page 189 is John Byrne's Stowaway to the Stars, a graphic album to color.
Oh,
And
God,
the Princess
Jamie
Bride.
would have loved that.
Oh, yes, he would
Oh,
have.
wow.
Hey, Shane, on page 185, tell me you noticed what the cover to My Little Pony Friendship is Magic number 48 is a tribute to. You must see the reference there.
Yes, I do. It looks very Muppy Showish.
Sorry, what?
Muppy Showish.
Muppy Showish?
Muppet Showish. That's awesome.
The Princess Bride, a storybook to color, on page 190.
That's such a great movie. I have yet to ever read the book, though.
Oh, Shane, one of the best adaptations of a book. When you read the novel, you really appreciate what a great job they did with the movie.
That's great.
And the novel's wonderful. Definitely read it. It's a quick read. You'll love it. Anything else for IDW, gentlemen?
Nope. I'm ready for the image.
All right.
Image
Let's go to
Comics.
Image. So on page 194,
Yeah, right off the bat.
After Death, book 1 of 3, written by Scott Snyder, art by Jeff Lemire.
That looks awesome.
Set in a future where a genetic cure for death has been found. That's enough for me. I want to read this.
Yeah.
I mean, with this creative team, 'cause
Yeah.
they're probably gonna get into. It's probably not all as utopian as it might sound.
I'm sure it won't.
Sure,
Right,
it won't
so-
be, yeah.
That's exciting.
All I'm asking myself now is 3 issues going to be enough for this team to
Well,
address this concept?
They're 72-page
piece,
issues.
yeah.
It's oversized.
okay.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. The first issue is half off through DC, based at $2.99. But they do mention that as 3 oversized prestige format books.
8 3/8 inches by 10 and a little over 1/8 inch. Look at that.
Next page, if you're a science fiction fan, hopefully you're reading Jonathan Hickman's work. He's had a new one here, Frontier number 1, which is called, it's like Star Trek, but super depressing. That's enough for me. I want to read this book. Seriously, not a joke. The Final Frontier is a total bummer.
56 pages. Wow, half off $2.49.
So that's kind of worth the
I
cover
think Hickman's
price.
one of the
Yeah,
most
it sure
innovative,
is.
innovative creators in comics.
Yep. Story, art, and I'm sure graphic design, too, all by Hickman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Looks
looks
a
like
little-
something it's going to require a certain amount of patience on the part of the reader.
You get your money's worth then.
Yeah. So it may, well, of course, and then describing it as super depressing isn't going to appeal to every potential reader. So I don't know. That may be
It's got me on the hook.
hindering their own commercial future there. But heck, I'll give it a try.
Page 1, I always love a good Cold War thriller, Mayday number 1. A Cold War action thriller like no other. It's 1971, the 70s murder. And 2 young Soviet operatives are sent to California to kill a defector and recover top-secret information. As the mission falls apart into a mess of good sex, bad drugs, and ugly violence, the young Russians are faced with a dilemma. They need to rely on each other to escape America, but they must betray each other to survive Russia. Written by Alex DeCampi with art by Tony Parker and Blonde. I love the concept. I like the art pages, too. I'm definitely going to check this out.
On page 202, the final issue of Chew.
I only read the first trade,
Me
which
too.
I really enjoyed.
Me too.
Did anybody read it beyond that? Or?
I think I've read the second, or bought the second trade's worth of issues and then just kind of lost touch with it.
Okay.
But here it is, issue number 60. It's double-sized, 48 pages, trifold cover, $5.99. The end of the adventures of the Sibopathic detective Tony Chew.
Well, I love the concept, and I always give props when a creator is able to finish their story.
Yeah.
Because obviously this is creator-owned. I wanted to put on page 203, the Comic Legal Defense Fund's Liberty Annual 2016. If people aren't aware, the CBLDF will use its legal resources to advise and even defend comic stores, retailers, creators whose First Amendment rights are being threatened. I don't know a lot about different cases. I know they defended people who were accused of selling pornography or things like that, and they just provide a vital service. And this is the kind of book that should be supported. All proceeds from this benefit anthology support the CBLDF. So, in fact, a funny little anecdote. At the shop, Bill got this weird message on our machine when we were closed. It was a woman speaking incoherently. He could barely make out what she was saying, but she was accusing us of selling pornography in the store. But she left no name, no number, and I got to tell you, even though, knock on wood, this is weeks ago, so it just came to nothing. The person was probably just a kook, but it scared the hell out of me. I said,
Sure.
put signs up right away, we have the right, reserve the right not to sell certain things to minors and this and that. Not that we sell pornography, but there's a lot of Vertigo comics and different comics that have adult
Yeah. Themes.
in them and sensibilities. And it jarred me for that day. We took quick steps to just make sure people understood, this is a kid-friendly shop.
Yeah.
But, it just takes one person who can just say something or make an accusation that can upend everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why CBLDF is so important. Now, I got to say on page 204, I'm way behind the 8 ball on Invincible. I read the
As
first
am
trade.
I, yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, you're in good company here, Chris.
And I know many of our listeners, and I've spoken to customers, people who really praise this series. And from what I'm reading this copy, correct me if I'm wrong, Pants, it sounds like the series is coming to an end.
That is correct.
Okay. So maybe when it ends, I'll jump back and start to read the whole thing, in one shot, essentially.
Time.
Yeah.
This is
See
not
what's
enough.
become of us.
I was just going to say that.
Ian Levinstein is wagging his finger at us right now because he is a big champion of this book and always has been. And we did the first trade as a book of the month a long time ago. And
I remember that, yeah.
most of us were kind of like, eh. And people were shouting at us, read more. You should have covered the first 2 trades in that episode, and then you would have been hooked. But so far, I think the rest of us haven't been hooked yet. But as you say, Chris, once the series has come to a conclusion, once it's a finite amount of trades to pick up and read, maybe that will be our time to jump back in.
I concur, sir. Page 206, Eisner winner for Best Continuing Series, well-deserved. Southern Bastards by, I think, one of the master writers in the business right now, Jason Aaron, drawn by Jason Latour. This is a tremendous book. Are you guys reading this?
No. Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Again, just so many things to read. I can't read everything.
Oh,
I
no
would
need to
love
explain
to
it,
read
Pansy.
everything.
Believe me, I understand. I just want to encourage people, if you've not read this book, Image, to its credit, the first trade is for $9.99.
Nice.
There's at least a second trade out now, if not a third. And it's just about a small town in Alabama which is obsessed with its high school football team, and the power this gives the coach and the corruption that ensues from that, and how one family kind of stands up to that and the consequences of it. It is without question one of the most, I'll just say, devastatingly smart books out there. Its portrayal of the different people. I mean, there's a lot of ugliness in this book. I don't mean just the way people look, just what they do, how they conduct themselves, how they treat other people. And he just captures a certain feeling and sensibility about that particular mentality. This do-or-die, living vicariously through a sports team, but to a murderous degree, because there's almost like a crime cartel coming out of this. Without question, one of the top books out today. So I highly recommend that to our listeners.
I'm up on 237. I see Paper Girls Volume 2 trades coming out, so I'll have to really get on the ball and read my Volume 1.
When I did a lot of my catch-up reading past few weeks, I caught up on Paper Girls. Vaughn just does no wrong as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the guy, just any genre, just like Brian Woodall, I think Vaughn is even a step above Wood. He just nails it. And we all remember the 1980s.
Sure.
This book is for people who remember the 1980s. I just read one of the recent issues where, without spoiling, are you caught up on it?
Might be an issue behind.
You've probably read this one. Remember when they go to the derelict shopping mall?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I won't spoil, but they go to a shopping mall that's been closed since like the 90s. The fun the creative team has showing you what was in this mall, I won't say anything else, but we'll all understand. It's just... And I love it. And on this book, you're not really sure where the hell it's even going.
Oh, yeah.
And that's part of the fun of
like,
it. I mean,
huh?
but knowing
What?
Vaughn, there's got to be an end.
Oh, sure.
So it's time travel. It's nostalgia. It's very poignant about friendships, what happens as you get older. It's a magnificent comic.
It's about meeting yourself in the
Yeah,
future. Yeah,
in more ways than one. Yeah. Look at that cover to Saga on page 221. It doesn't get any better. Come on. I mean, look at that. God. I just read the wraparound one. Did you get that yet?
I have it. I haven't read it yet.
Okay, how amazing is that cover, though?
Oh,
God.
That was what, 37, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Shane, I ask this every time. I'll ask it again. You're not caught up on Walking Dead yet, right?
God, no.
Okay. I don't care if it's years from now. I look forward to a discussion of why I jumped the shark.
I just moved my trades from one box to another box.
Anything else, an image that people are...
No, I'm
Jonesing
ready
on
for Marvel.
Are we ready for Marvel then?
Yeah, let's do Marvel. Well, right on page 2, they're restarting Avengers, but it's Mark Waid, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
excited
but
for that.
it's $4.99.
Oh, is it? I didn't see the price.
Oh, it's going to be a big epic...
Kang!
Yes, time-twisting Kang story. Can it best the Kurt Busiek?
Avengers Forever, the definitive Kang story. It's Waid, though, Murd. I got faith in that. Plus Hercules.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, come on. Avengers mainstay. And the next page, Iron Man's getting not rebooted, but a new #1 issue.
Now.
This time,
Hey, we got page numbers finally. We got small steps.
We do it? Yeah, we do have
Every
some page
odd
numbers.
page.
And this book focuses on the young woman now who's donning the Iron Man armor, Riri Williams. It's Bendis. I'm really enjoying his work on the current iteration of Invincible Iron Man.
Wait, that's her name?
Riri Williams, yes.
Oh, I thought he said Rory Williams.
No,
Like,
Riri.
really? The guy from Doctor Who?
And the fact that this is still ongoing, the fact that they're bringing Victor Von Doom post-Secret Wars into Iron Man's world, and I won't say more than that, but Bendis has been having a ball with the interplay between Doom and Tony Stark. That's good stuff. And I'm really excited on page...
6 and 7.
Yeah, thank you. There's no page numbers.
There is a page number. It's down there in the bottom right, 7.
Unworthy 4, #1. List this creative team. I'm getting chills. Jason Aaron, Olivier Coipel.
Yep.
Now,
Right.
if you've been reading Thor, we know that
The Mighty Thor.
the Mighty Thor, excuse me. You know, Jane Foster now has the mantle of Thor. She has
Right.
Mjolnir, but the actual Thor is off in
Odinson.
space.
Yes, they
Odinson,
have to call
thank
him
you.
the Odinson.
Yeah, Odinson, thank you. Forgive me, because in Original Sin, something is whispered to him that's so he feels so dishonored, he just vanishes essentially.
And he can't lift a Mjolnir.
He can't lift Mjolnir, right? And now Aaron's going to pick that thread up and explore what Odinson is doing. I'm really looking forward to reading this.
Because he's appeared in the Mighty Thor.
Couple times,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Not lately, though.
No.
Not in recent issues, yeah.
But by the way, Mighty Thor is one of the few Marvel books, along with Black Widow and Silver Surfer, that I'm getting and
Oh, it's
reading.
outstanding.
It's outstanding.
I've loved. I mean, let's think about it. Aaron's been doing Thor now for a couple of years. At
Oh
least.
yeah,
It's
well
been going
since
back.
years.
since
Yeah.
2013. Since 2012, I think, when at Baltimore, I actually read issue #1
Okay,
before
there
it
you go.
came out at the panel.
And I've loved everything he's done with the
Oh,
character.
yeah. So
Aaron
good.
just clearly understands and has his finger on sort of the pulse of Thor's history, what makes the character so compelling. And is it Russell Dowderman? Is that the?
Gosh, I'm sorry, I have to check.
But the art is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
In that series. All right, Steve Rogers giving the Hydra salute.
Yep.
By the way, because I just listened again, as I tell you, to the Jamie D episode, when Drunk Cap comes on and talks about that flag with the tentacles on it at that secret party, I nearly wet my pants in the van. I mean, you always count on Drunk Cap to be timely, right?
Uh-huh.
And let's talk about on page 10
and 11.
This is our off-the-rack roll reading from Marvel. Thanos #1, Jeff Lemire, Mike Diodato. In immediately.
Yeah. That can't be a bad thing at all.
Oh, check out the variant cover by Jeff DeCal. Look at
It's actually
Thanos'-
terrifying.
Look at the eyes.
Look at the
there.
eyes.
Possible plot
Yeah.
detail revealed there.
I was thinking that too.
Oh, yes.
He's already been after the Cosmic Cube, the Infinity Gems, and a couple of other power
That's
sources.
a good point, Murd. I really hope as we continue to enjoy the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'm really looking forward to seeing how they render Thanos. I've read. I won't spoil anything, Pants. From what I've been reading, I'm hopeful that they get how complex this character is. He's not just some one-note trolling the mustache villain.
Yeah.
Because they obviously haven't seen much of him yet, which is appropriate. But I hope they really go into what drives Thanos essentially. What is urging him to do what he does.
Your page 12 and 13, Chris.
Oh, well, immediately. And what needs to be said is the Black Panther, World of Wakanda. I've been reveling in Ta-Nehisi Coates' take on the character. I've been thoroughly enjoying the series because he's incorporating all the wonderful elements of Lee, Kirby, Don McGregor, Christopher Priest. A lot of the elements are there, but he's doing his own thing with it, as of course he should. And what's so wonderful about the story is it's a Black Panther who's on the verge of losing his throne. Like there's a potential of rebellion in Wakanda, which you're never accustomed to seeing before.
Yeah.
And it's masterfully done. Just exploring the history, the consequences of his decisions, the policies, the role of the Dora Milaje. And I won't spoil anything else, but all I'll say is I was reading in, I think it was Entertainment Weekly, they had some information about the new Black Panther movie. So excited by what I read, by what they're going to do. That's all I'll say. And what I read tells me they've read everything. Like they clearly have read everything with what it looks like they're going to do with this movie. All right, page 14 is my third off the rack. I got giddy when I read this. I love a good retcon in the hands of a master, and who's a better retconner than Mark Waid? Working with Barry Kitson, Avengers 1.1 explores behind the scenes of the origin of Cap's kooky quartet.
The old
Bird
order
gives a knowing
changeth.
grin. So, for the first time I ever learned what really happened all those years ago when the founding Avengers turned their membership over to a set of new recruits. The recently thawed Captain America is joined by 3 reformed supervillains: Hawkeye, Quicksilver, and the Scarlet Witch. And a new group of Earth's mightiest heroes takes shape in a story that has direct ramifications for the Avengers of today. Look at that Kitson art. I'm really Jones to read this. Power Man and Iron Fist, one of Marvel's top titles. Love it every month.
I'm somewhat curious about 24 and 25, The Amazing Spider-Man, Renew Your Vows, #1, where the Parker family all has powers of Spider-Man.
Okay, I'm way behind on the Slott series.
I am too.
He's not with Mary Jane yet.
It's probably an alternate reality.
Okay, because it's
kind
Jerry
of thing.
Conway, which is automatically...
Yep.
Yeah.
And our
great
friend
thing.
Ryan Stegman is doing
Yes.
the art.
It just looks fun.
Yeah, enjoyed his work on the short-lived Scarlet Spider series a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Let's see, pages 18 and 19. We've got what is, in effect, a new Hawkeye series called Occupy Avengers. It's Hawkeye the Marksman and Will Talltree's The Red Wolf.
I love that variant cover of Michael Cho, Murd.
Oh, yeah, very, very early 70s
I was
movie
just going to say
poster.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like a Robert Redford kind of thing.
Yes.
But yeah, so they're doing the noble outlaw thing. Kind of not always costumed, but
And standing up for the little guy, which Hawkeye is born to do.
Yep, bit of
essentially.
age of relevance social justice thing going on. And it's written by David F. Walker, rising
Which
star.
means I'm
there.
reading it immediately.
Yep, this is
His
right
work on
after-
Power Man and Iron Fist, on Nighthawk, his wonderful interpretation of the classic Shaft character, all top-notch stuff. So,
And he's partnered with Carlos Pacheco doing the
I didn't even see that. Oh! Woo!
Oh my
Fantastic!
goodness!
Now you're super buying it.
Yes.
I can't hear.
Sorry, honey pie. All right, on page 30,
30.
what's with the Ghost Rider driving a car?
It's weird.
They tried that.
Didn't they try it a few years ago?
It was,
It
yes, they
fizzled
did.
right away?
It was a mini-series,
Okay,
I think.
yeah.
So it's like a Robbie Reyes is the character's name, and yeah, to me, Ghost Rider driving a car doesn't really scan. I mean, I guess they're trying to keep him updated and relevant and all of that, but to me, Ghost Rider rides a motorcycle. End of story. It's just
Well-
it doesn't have the same impact when he's behind the wheel of a car, even a souped-up road racer like
And I
this
know
one.
what Shane is thinking. We
Yeah.
can't talk about it because it'll be a spoiler.
Right.
You're thinking
But-
of
No, there's a reason
Yeah.
why they're doing
Yeah.
this.
Agents
There's-
of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Totally another
Yeah,
reason why they're
the
doing it.
advertisements are out there. They've
Yeah.
said Ghost Rider is going to be in the new series, season. So no secret there. But yeah, that would completely explain why they're
Murd, aren't
publishing
you a
this
Fool
series now.
Killer fan?
I wouldn't say that.
Oh, no? Okay.
Actually, what I would say looking at this is that they're finding all kinds of stuff to fling at the wall at Marvel the last couple of months, which I actually kind of support. I like to see this diversity of different weird
You know what? I
characters
think I was
being
thinking
tried.
of Madcap.
Yes, Madcap is actually being seen quite a bit in the Deadpool books
Is he?
these
Okay.
days. And he's another product of that Mark Grunwald run on Captain America.
As Pants mentioned earlier, Silver Surfer, one of Marvel's top titles. I just read. Did you read issue 200?
It's in my
Okay,
to
well, I
read
won't-
pile. I'm so sorry. I
Man,
wanted
no,
to
that's
have
okay,
everything
Vance.
caught up by the episode today.
You're going to love it.
That is one of my favorite
Yeah.
books, with the interaction between Norrin Rad, not just Stilson, but Norrin Rad and Dawn Greenwood, and the
And the
quirkiness, and
Yeah.
Toomey,
Yeah.
and the quirkiness of the family and the town, and I remember the cliffhanger for the issue before.
Yeah.
And with what's going on with Zen La and Dawn's.
Shalabal and all that. Yeah.
So,
It's just so good.
After all of you, including Danny, raving about this book, I put an order in with
for the trades.
No, with I think it was Lone Star Comics, and got all but maybe 2 issues of
okay.
everything. So I have them all at home to start reading.
I look forward to your reaction, sir. It's such a... I think the all-red art, the sensibility, is so perfect for the tone of that book. Remember the early issue with the double-page spread of that planet they went to?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
forgot
yeah.
the name of it.
That I
forgive
do
me.
remember. I had that issue.
And it's also such a loving... It's such a love letter to Marvel's history.
Yeah, and I think even Danny described it. It sort of has a Doctor Who feel
without
to
question.
it.
Did.
Yeah,
Without
which
question.
I
did.
say that.
And I love Allred's art, and it's lots of good writers.
He sure is.
They're a great team.
By the way, on page 40, what a shock. They're going to resurrect Namor.
What?
Who owns the movie rights to the Submariner?
Don't know.
Do we know if that's... Okay.
I'm sure somebody knows out there. It's not
He's
I.
often associated with the Fantastic Four, so I wonder if Fox has the rights to that character.
Hope not.
Yeah, understatement, because I'd love to see them take him on as a film treatment.
Not only did I read The Martian, but I've watched the movie and love the movie.
Great movie.
It's fun to see the Fantastic Four, Susan Storm from the newest one, with the dude from the Ant-Man movie, as well as
Winter
Sebastian
Soldier.
Stan. No, right.
Yeah.
He's in there, but the sidekick or the friend in
Michael
Ant-Man, all of them
Ant-Man.
in there acting
Yep.
together in the Martian.
Well, come on.
A lot of fun.
Any major actor today, they want some of that superhero money.
Oh, sure.
Come on. They're
Yeah.
I mean, Glenn Close, one of the greatest actresses alive, had a little throwaway part, as a...
Yeah.
An administrator of the
Prime.
Nova Corps.
Of the Nova Corps, yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Nova Prime. They
Yeah.
call her Nova Prime, right?
It's been a while since I've watched it.
Oh, I watch those at least once a
But,
week.
yeah, they didn't
What?
exactly.
I listen to them, I should say.
Thank you.
They didn't exactly get the Nova Corps.
Quite right.
Yeah. So, but I think there's supposed to be a Nova movie in the offing sometime in
I'm
the
okay
next
with that, too.
decade or so.
The next decade or so.
Page
Get
74.
your tickets now.
And I know I'm way far ahead.
That's all right.
Doctor Strange 14. Love this book. I'm just saying.
It's another example of...
Fantastic.
If you have the right creative team, they can... I mean, Doctor Strange, to me, is a hallowed character, but they can make anything work.
Yeah.
And what I love about this book is all the elements of Doctor Strange's history are there, but they've gone in such an interesting new direction with the character of exploring his powers in a different way. How his powers affect him physically, and not always in a positive way either.
No.
The relationship between him and Wong. And the B'Challa art is just...
It's
just
out of this
perfect.
world.
It's just perfect for sensibility of the
Just
character.
beautiful.
Page 60, Amazing Spider-Man Annual. It's a kind of an international theme. Spider-Man goes to Mexico, a story by Humberto Ramos. Cloak and Dagger go to Shanghai. And there's even a Spider-Man story written by, whose line is it anyways, Wayne Brady.
I love him.
Also host of Let's Make a Deal on CBS
I got a
weekdays.
quick tangent. My family, every week, because that show's on in the summer, we watch it together. We are all rolling with laughter. The improvisation, and Wayne Brady especially, is phenomenal in that show.
Yeah.
I adore that show.
This week on Let's Make a Deal, it was Let's Make a Deal Price is Right crossover episodes all week this week. Just
Oh, that
saying.
must have been fun.
It was fun. I watched a couple.
Now, that's a tangent.
Yeah.
Once again, the Star Wars titles are Jason Aaron.
I'm not unhappy that they're pared down though for right now.
Yeah. Well,
So
Darth
I can-
Vader's ending.
Yeah.
So-
I can get some of these other Marvel things that are coming out that I'm looking forward to reading.
You know, Murd, on page... oh, damn it, there's no number. Hold on. 101. Just for you, a Destroyer action figure.
Oh, and that would be the Odin sword he's carrying?
Looks like it.
Yes, it is the Odin sword. How about that?
On page 105, yet another Deadpool hardcover collection collecting various aspects of the character's history. Some good Christopher Priest stuff in there. There's some very... I'm sorry, I didn't mean to skip it at trades. Anybody else have anything else for the floppies? Mm-mm. Murray, anything else for floppies for Marvel?
No, I don't think so.
Some very exciting hardcovers on page 106, 107. Look at this, Pants. They're collecting the Wade run of Daredevil.
Uh-huh.
Volume 1. That's a collection I'm going to definitely order for my own library. And page 107, extremely titillating. Okay? They're continuing to reprint in omnibus format Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. For me, one of the great all-time Marvel finite series. As we know, this was in legal limbo for decades. They couldn't reprint the book. They'd lost the rights to the Sax Rohmer characters, who were supporting characters in the series, Fu Manchu especially. But I guess they sorted it out because they're bringing them all out in these hardcovers. And I have the first one. It's gorgeous.
On 116 and 117, oh gosh, another page list number. The Doctor Strange trades. Wasn't there one Doctor Strange story in particular that you had recommended
The
or
Oath.
talked about?
The Oath.
When Murd and I did the Doctor Strange Spotlight,
Brian K. Vaughan.
yeah, we sort of ended by recommending The Oath as like a sort of
Okay.
a good jumping on Doctor Strange story.
I wanted to get that and read that.
It's a classic. I highly recommend it. Also, on the opposite page, the Epic Collection. That's a lot of the great Silver and Bronze Age stuff in there. That's another great collection. The classic Frank Brunner cover from Doctor Strange #1 from the 70s. Volume 1 of the new Aaron stuff, which is wonderful. They've got a Doctor Strange coloring book, reissuing the omnibus of the classic Lee Ditko period.
Back on pages 112 and 113, collecting the Captain America arc that has sent shockwaves throughout media. Hail Hydra, 2 little words. By Nick Spencer and Jesus Saiz.
And I'm sorry, Murd.
Yep, so it's just this controversial bit where it's revealed, supposedly, clearly there's more to this than meets the eye,
There's a
but
lot more.
Captain America has been a Hydra sleeper agent for years.
All I'll say is, without to spoil it, that the initial knee-jerk panic reaction some people had, just keep reading it.
Yeah.
Because it's not what you think. It is, but it isn't. And I think it's excellent. I've been enjoying Nick Spencer's take on Captain America and his world, both Sam Wilson and Steve Rogers, consistently.
He clearly loves the Mark Gruenwald cap run.
Yes, he does.
He's introducing all kinds of stuff from that. And
Jack, what is it, Jack Spirit or Jack
Jack Flag and Free
American
Spirit.
Yes.
Free Spirit was his sort of partner.
All right, Shane, on page 127, Vision Volume 2.
Yes.
It doesn't get any better.
No.
It
I have
doesn't.
all the issues now.
You do have them all.
I do.
Weren't you missing one?
I was
particular
missing
issue?
2, and I've gotten 2 of them from the kindness of
His personal
listener
shopper
and
over here.
kindness of
Baltimore,
the pants.
no
Yep,
doubt.
he filled my last hole in my vision run
Hey
as well.
now.
He's not talking about orifices. Where are you going with that? Jeez.
Calm down.
The mind on this guy.
Well, Shane, you want to talk about the other? Who sent you the other one?
Yes. I didn't have that with me. Ugh. I had packed it away so I didn't forget it. From Robert Kelly, I got a very nice email, or we did through the CGS mail, and it was forwarded to me. And I replied with much appreciation that he was willing to send me Vision #4 so that I could add that to my collection, read it, and get down to #5 being needed. So I truly, truly appreciate that on such a book that is so sought after right now. The prices of these things is out of this world when I'm looking online for issues 4 and 5. And then Pants found issue 5 in his Baltimore Comic-Con travels for what?
$2 actually at Jeppy's Museum.
I couldn't believe it. So that's just fantastic finds.
But yeah, we always have to be careful when we say, "Oh, I need this back issue," because people will send us these things.
Yeah. It's
So I'm
very-
looking for Detective Comics 27, and it's just reader copy. I'll take it at VG minus.
Yeah.
And then you can retire.
I'm looking for the Brave and the Bold issues
28.
that feature Justice League. But in all seriousness, very much appreciated.
Yes.
It was unnecessary, but I will treasure and read that like crazy.
Murd, I thought of you immediately, page 131. They're putting Heroes for Hire
Yep.
in trade. That 90s series you always speak so highly of that I've yet to read.
Oh, yes, I don't know if it's worthy of the collection treatment, but it was a good, solid series.
And look at the collection of magnificent trades on the opposite page. Power Manifest Volume 1, the new series by Walker and Green. Epic collections of the classic Bronze and Copper Age Power and Iron Fist series. This is great stuff. And with Luke Cage coming out with his own show at the end of the month, correct?
Yep, September 30th.
Yep. These are great ways to sort of get a feel for the character, some of these trades. This is an interesting story that I've never read, but I've heard good things about. On page 133, this was in Marvel Fanfare. George Perez drew a Black Widow espionage story. I think it was written by Ralph Macchio, I believe.
That would be correct.
Yes, and I've never read it. It's supposed to be very good. The art is beautiful. It's Perez doing the Black Widow, so there's the trade of that. Lest we forget how good the Young Avengers series was by Heinberg and Jim Chung. It came out very sporadically. That was a damn good series, and they have it here as a complete collection. Next to that, more of John Byrne's classic run on She-Hulk. We often broke the fourth wall in the 1980s. And you can't go wrong with the Epic collection of the next page, X-Men 24 to 45, and their crossover to Avengers 53, and Amazing Spider-Man, wow, 18 to 38. The rest of the Ditko run. Good stuff. Anything else for Marvel, gentlemen?
No, I'm good.
Nope.
Rest of the book.
Rest of the book.
All right, our next off the rack. I'm sorry, sir.
Well, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no. You go right ahead. I'm sorry. You go
Our
right
next
ahead.
off the rack on page 256, Motor Girl #1.
By Terry Moore.
Written and drawn, but what I think it's fair to say is one of the living masters of the comic book medium, Terry Moore, who has proven he can write and draw anything and make it compelling. Science fiction, romance, crime, terrifying, supernatural.
That's just an SIP.
Yeah. He does it all.
Now, I did go to his panel at Comic-Con where he talked about this, and it's going to be a smaller series. I think he said only 6 issues, just because, when he gets further on these long runs, the readership drops off, so he wants to keep it steady, keep it fresh. So I think it's only going to be, I think he mentioned 6 issues. But yeah, I'm down for this. First issue is half off of $1.99 DCBS. Again, a girl and her monkey, what more do you want?
Yeah. Buy her comic or I'll rip your head off.
And what's fascinating is I went to a Pittsburgh con that he was at, I'm sure you guys were there probably too, many years ago. And he was talking about this concept.
Yep.
So it's interesting to think that he always had it probably in the back of his mind.
Sure.
It's at the time where he's doing it. Because when he talked about the concept, I thought it sounded very intriguing. But then I think he did, was it Echo? Right? Echo, and then after Echo was Rachel Rising. And now he's gotten back to this. That's wonderful.
All right. Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Bob. So let's pause here. As we go to Action Lab Books, we're going to talk to Steve Bryant, the creator behind Athena Voltaire. He's going to talk to us about Athena Voltaire and the Volcano Goddess, as well as Ghoul Scouts, and a couple of things. So here's our brief chat with Steve Bryant. All right, and joining us now to talk once again about Athena Voltaire is Mr. Steve Bryant. Welcome back to the show, Steve.
Hi, guys.
Woo! Yeah. I'm excited for more Athena Voltaire. That's awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
So give the listeners and ourselves, again, a brief, if you can, a brief history of Athena Voltaire.
Here's my convention rundown.
All right.
It's 1930s pulp adventure, kind of Indiana Jones, starring a female pilot. So you've got lost cities, ancient artifacts, supernatural creatures, Nazis, explosions. So that's the elevator pitch.
And you started publishing this, was it first as a web comic?
Yeah. Way back... I think at the dawn of the internet, Al Gore came up to me and said, "Steve, we need a webcomic." It was. I think it launched in 2001, and so yeah, we did it online for a while and did some stuff in print with the first issue came out from Speakeasy Comics, and that's a footnote.
Yeah,
and suddenly we were left adrift like Uncle Sal and the Black Coat guys when Speakeasy folded. And then we were at Ape Entertainment for a while, followed by a brief stint at Dark Horse. And now I'm happy to be at Action Lab.
Yes,
that's
Action
awesome.
Lab Entertainment.
Class outfit, those guys.
They treating you right over there, Steve?
Oh, they're being great. I also they're being great. Oh, grammar am good. No, they're terrific to work with. They also publish Ghoul Scouts, which is an all ages book I do with Mark Stegbauer drawing. So yeah, I'm happy to have 2 books there. Hopefully more in the future.
Yes, and actually, Athena the issue we're talking about right now is Athena Voltaire and the Volcano Goddess, #1. It's in the latest previews at Action Lab. Cover price $3.99, but if you order through DCBS, that's only $1.99.
woohoo!
Oh, gotta love Cameron and Christina.
Oh,
You're
my God,
not
they're
kidding.
great. And they also have available the Athena Voltaire Compendium hardcover at 35% off, only $12.99.
I'm tempted to get it again. Just
Get it again!
Well, yeah, it's somewhere new now.
It's the exact same book that we did through Dark Horse. It's 224 pages for $20 hardcover. So yeah, I'm thrilled that Action Lab's doing that. And if I can continue being a hardcore shill here for a second,
Sure.
The first issue of the Volcano Goddess also has a limited variant cover by Michael Allred.
Yes, I was going to mention that as well. Now that cover is $3.24 through DCBS.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's not discounted quite as much, and it has a cover price, I think, of $4.99.
I believe you are correct, sir.
But there's only 1,500 of them.
So get them while they last. So now remind us again what is in actually the compendium? What does that all contain? Is that everything up to this point? The webcomics, the previous series from Speakeasy and Ape?
Yes and no. The compendium is a weird animal because when Athena Voltaire launched, it was myself and my collaborator was Paul Daly. And when Paul left the book, we had an amicable agreement. His stories would be his stories and my art would be my art. But the downside was it would, when the Ape books that we had done, the complete webcomics and Flight of the Falcon, when those went out of print, they would just kind of fade away. And that material represented, a couple hundred pages of effort on my part, and my coloring collaborators, Chad Fiddler and Jason Millay. So I got to thinking about it, and a different friend suggested, why don't you just, re-script it, like Marvel style, like the old Marvel book where you take the art and script it. And I thought, God, that's brilliant. That would just take a few weekends. I could be done with this in a couple of months. So anyway, I may be the dumbest person you've ever met because that took for freaking ever. It ended up, I cut apart the stories, created some new connective tissue, ended up with 200 new pages of scripts, and probably 50 brand new pages of art with a bunch of new patches and stuff like that. So needless to say, it did not take me a couple of weekends. So the compendium is new but old. There's a lot of older artwork in there. The stories and scripts are all entirely new. And then about a quarter of it is completely new art. But I feel like it's a good price point, but if somebody doesn't want to buy it, that's fine. You can get right up to speed if you just buy the Volcano Goddess #1, if you've read the other stuff, or if you're new to the book.
Yeah, and actually, when I saw him out at San Diego, we actually had a limited Comic-Con cover with Athena Voltaire shilling for FDR for president.
Yeah, well, you remember like the presidential cover craze from like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I thought, well, it is an election year, so we kind of trotted that out for this. It's a little fun.
Yes. It's not a little fun. That's a lot of fun.
In the same issue of previews, we've got Faith from Valiant meeting Hillary Clinton, so why shouldn't
Exactly.
There we go.
Voltaire stump
Yep,
for
yep.
FDR?
Now, tell me a little bit about Ghoul Scouts, because All Ages book, it wasn't really necessarily on my radar, but tell us a little about your contributions to that book.
Sometimes these things take forever.
No.
To make it to market, right? I had toyed around with this idea when my son was still in Cub Scouts. He is now 16, so sometimes it takes a while. But my original notes for it was called Zomboy Scouts, but Ghoul Scouts is a better pun, and it's got we incorporated boys and girls. But the high concept is it's just kids fighting monsters. During a scouting jamboree, a group of Wilderness Scouts and Gaia Scouts, boys and girls, they're kind of the misfits of their respective troops, and they're thrown together when a zombie outbreak happens during this camp out. So the kids kind of find a way to work together and try to save their town, which is the paranormal capital of the world, Full Moon Hollow. I'm a sucker for like TV towns, so I kind of wanted to build, our own Sunnydale or like Pawnee, Indiana on Parks and Rec, or Stars Hollow on Gilmore Girls, where it's kind of this quirky little town that has its own shtick happening. So we've got that, and it's kind of a coming of age story like Stand By Me or The Sandlot, but with lots of monsters. I'm writing that. Mark Stegbauer, who's done a bunch of inking for Marvel in like the 90s, is drawing it, and Jason Millay, who colored a ton of Athena Voltaire stuff, is coloring it. So it's a fun book. Oh, and I would be remiss if I did not mention Chris Murrin, who
yes.
I initially met on the old CGS forums. Chris is editing this and the Athena Voltaire stuff.
Yeah, Chris is good people. I saw you both out at Comic-Con, and always good to see you two together.
Yeah, he's an integral part of the process. He's a good guy.
Now, for Ghoul Scouts, is it an ongoing? Was it a limited series?
The first arc, it's a series of limited series.
Okay.
So the first arc was Night of the Unliving Undead. The second arc is I Was a Tweenage Werewolf. So Mark is working away on that. And yeah, hopefully we can do, I want to do a UFO story. We would love to do a holiday story. I definitely want to do like a Creature from the Black Lagoon kind of riff. So we've got a billion ideas of stuff we want to tackle with this. So hopefully we can, build a nice young audience to corrupt their minds. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that part. Sorry.
Now, has Ghoul Scouts been collected yet?
It was actually the trade collection was solicited in the August previews.
Okay.
What date does this episode air?
Should be up on the 12th of September, fingers crossed.
Coincidentally, that is the final order cutoff. For the book. So if you're listening to this and it's still Monday the 12th, call your comic shop.
Or run down there.
That'll work too. Tell them you want it. Not pester me, but reach out to me on Twitter, and I'll send you a preview of it if you want to order it. But it comes out the first week of October. So we're trying to set up some signings where maybe we can do some Halloween parties.
Oh,
I just think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any signings set up for Halloween around that time in your area?
Well, Mark is local to Madison, Wisconsin, so I know that the weekend right before Halloween, the 29th, I think is the Saturday, we're going to be at both Westfield Comics locations. I don't know what times yet, but that should be a lot of fun. Westfield has always been great to us.
Now, you mentioned on Twitter, where can people find you on the interweb?
I am on Twitter at Steve Bryant Art. And then Facebook, look for just Athena Voltaire. I don't know why I originally mistyped it as lowercase Athena and then capital V Voltaire. And once you had a certain number of likes on a fan page like that, you can't change the name. So lowercase Athena, capital V Voltaire, because Steve is an idiot.
That's just to get you noticed.
Yeah, that's my fiendish plan. How are you guys doing?
Okay.
Doing very well. Just got back from Baltimore last weekend. Another fun convention.
How was it?
That is just a wonderful convention, just so comic-centric. So many public Action Lab was there.
Yeah.
Chad Ciccone was there representing. So many publishers, creators, both artists, writers, letterers, colorists were there. And, of course, the back issue shopping, wow. It was like, I was a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, I had to miss it this year, but that's where I do a lot of back issue shopping if I go anywhere. It's a great show.
I really want to make it out there. You mentioned that Action Lab was out there.
Yes.
Did you hear? Now I'm turning into a shill. I don't mean to be.
No, that's fine.
But did you hear Brian Seaton, the publisher, his announcement?
I did, and I was going to mention it, but why don't you mention it since you're sort of part of the family?
Yeah, they're giving away 5 million comics to schools. So I don't know. I know the details, but I don't know them all offhand. I've read it a few times, and I don't want to misrepresent. Yeah. But it's pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah, sure is.
Yeah, I talked to Chad down there, and the idea is just to give them to schools with a basic outline of things, and just I think one of the first books was I can always cut out if I'm wrong, was Military Bears. If I'm not mistaken.
Militetti, I think.
Militetti. There we go. Yeah, because the same weekend was the Diamond Retailer Summit. I think Brian was there for that in Baltimore to talk to all the retailers about it when they made this announcement. Fantastic.
Now, Steve, how often will we see Athena Voltaire? Is it monthly, bi-monthly?
It's a monthly 3-issue series. I have a prose collection set up of illustrated, fiction, not comics, but a lot of terrific writers on that. Dirk Manning, Tom King. Yeah, I conned Karina Beckow. I conned a lot of great people. I mean, I coerced a lot of good friends. No,
Blackmail.
No, I have a lot of really great friends that contributed stories, and I'm going to do the illustrations for that. So I'm not sure how closely that'll follow up the Volcano Goddess. And then the next Athena arc is Athena Voltaire and the Sorcerer Pope.
Nice.
I love it.
No, Pope Sylvester II was rumored, I kid you not, rumored to be a sorcerer. And like there were all these stories where he was given this bronze head that could foretell the future, and he was given to it by a mysterious group of 9 unknown men. And I just thought, God, that's a story. So that's going to be the next arc. But I just get slower and slower doing this stuff. So I'm thinking about just trying to get someone else to draw it while I write it, and then maybe I can work ahead, on the next series, and that way, we won't have like 30 million years between story arcs.
Yeah,
Right,
but
right.
I've always loved your artwork,
Yeah.
Steve.
There's
You're way too kind. Thank you.
I'm sure it would still be great, but there just would be a little bit lost. I don't want to say lost, 'cause that's not right, but just, I don't know. I like when Steve Bryant does it.
Well, thank you. I do covers. I'm not horribly slow on covers yet. Yet.
So, like I said, I mentioned you were at Comic-Con. Do you have? I know it's sort of getting late in the year, but do you have any other conventions you're going to be hitting in 2016?
I don't think it's late in the year. I think they just go year round.
Well,
I wish. There are so many that I want to make it out to, but this year, San Diego Comic-Con's my last one. For the first time, though, I'm going to be at Emerald City. So that'll be in early March
nice,
next year.
yeah.
I'm super excited about that.
That will be good for you, Steve.
Oh, I can't wait. Thank you. I hear it's like a really good art and comic-centric show.
oh yeah.
You have not been misinformed about that.
Oh, excellent. And I'll do C2E2, of course, because that's my home show. And San Diego next year, of course. I would love to get back to like Heroes Con or the MSP convention, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Oh yeah.
I went there last year, and it was great. I'd love to go to Denver, too. So we'll see if I can expand it.
Yeah, get those Action Lab guys to fly you somewhere.
Yeah, like I've got that much weight. I've got to demonstrate some value first.
Well, you've demonstrated value to us over
That's
the
right.
years. I mean,
Yeah.
we've known you for 10, like,
Yeah.
like 11 plus
11 years.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I knew it was pretty insane. I think before the most recent forum changeover, on like version 2 or 3 of the forums when I got redone, I think my member number was like 9. And I wore that with pride.
Yeah. I just went through. I was telling Pants before the show. I was up in my comic room going through books, and my son was helping me, and I'm shifting stuff around and organizing. And of course, I came across my Steve Bryant Athena Voltaire section of a book, which I have right around my J. Scott Campbell stuff and my signed books, because I don't have many. But I was thumbing through those and looking at all the different versions of just the books I have. It's fun times. Last 10, 11 years.
Well, thank you. I'm flattered you kept it.
Oh my God! Yeah, I don't get rid of them.
No, take us away, kid. I want that. Come on.
Well, I mean, purges happen. Comics are cyclical.
Well,
I had to think about that word for a moment.
And my youngest son, who was helping me, although I didn't tell him about it right then, he's a huge Indiana Jones fan. So I'm going to give him the compendium or something. It's like, here, check this out. Give it a read. You're probably going to like it because you like Indiana Jones and you're starting to like girls. So here's a good mashup.
Well, that's cool. How old is he?
12. My youngest is 12.
my
My
gosh.
oldest is almost 15.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
it's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Okay, yeah, I'll start singing memories and the way we were and all that. It'll just be sad. So we need to shift.
Yeah.
Pivot, I say.
Oh,
All right. Well, Steve, again, congratulations on getting hooked up with Action
yeah.
Lab. They're good
That's
people.
awesome.
I'm thrilled. I couldn't be happier. And thanks for letting me come on and
thanks for coming
sound
on.
like a carnival sideshow barker for a few minutes.
Oh, anytime. You're one of the original friends of CGS
Heck
way
yeah.
back in the days.
Yep.
We love chatting with you.
You get a pass anytime.
Oh, thank you guys.
Back in my day.
So again, so check out Athena Voltaire and the Volcano Goddess #1. You order right now through previews, your local comic shop, or through DCBS
Yeah.
at $1.99.
Check out that alternate cover too.
For Mike Albright, yes. All right. Well, Steve, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. We'll
Thanks.
talk to you later.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, what else in the rest of the book, gentlemen, intrigues you?
Well, I've
Before
been...
we wander beyond Action Lab,
Certainly.
Please.
there's something on page 258, something from one of the founders of Action Lab Entertainment and a dear old friend of ours, Sean Pryor. He's taking a step back from his publisher duties to actually create something. Hasn't done that for a while. I saw him at HeroesCon. He was very excited to be writing again. And so he's produced an all-ages series called Cash and Carry, which is about a pair of middle school detectives, a technophile and the captain of the wrestling team, solving little mysteries together. And I bought a flip book preview of that from him. It's heartwarming all-ages stuff, and it's fun stories, mysteries, worth a look.
Yeah, and the first volume is 35% off at $6.49.
Excellent.
I want to talk about Aftershock comics. I don't know how I missed them initially, but I did. So I've been buying a couple of the books. I raved about Animosity, but I also picked up at Baltimore their series Rough Riders.
Because of Pat Olive?
Because of Pat Olive, because I love his art.
Me too.
Written by Adam Glass. This is a story. It's kind of like a history, not revisionist, but like a different side. Like what happened at San Juan Hill might have been what you think. So Teddy Roosevelt recruits Thomas Edison, Annie Oakley, Harry Houdini, Jack Johnson. It's a fun story. I love Pat Olive's artwork, and I got the first 5 issues down in Baltimore. I read them right away because that's how much I wanted to read this. I am digging this series, so I ordered issue 6. I'm going to order issue 7, and again, I mentioned about Animosity. So
I'll have to get the trade on
Kid
these.
#4. Yeah, so Aftershock Comics I guess, has been around for a little while. Mike March, I think, is running that, and
Right you are.
very interested in.
Well,
what
they're getting a
putting
lot
out.
of top flight creators.
Exactly. We talked. Yeah,
So, what I've read from them so far, I've enjoyed.
absolutely.
Captain Kidd, that's right. I read issue 1. Mark Waid, just wonderful. I don't think anybody does a superhero story like that better than Mark Waid. It's just we're looking
So,
forward to
did
that.
you read the preview in the back of Animosity #1?
I didn't actually.
Oh, Jimmy. All right.
I failed him, ladies and gentlemen.
You did.
And
You had one job.
What hurts right now is the look of when past the look of disappointment, it bores right into your soul. I want to slink home like a dog with a tail between my legs. What else, Shane-a-roo?
Boom Studios, page 298, has Namesake #1 of 4. Looks interesting. It's kind of science fiction-y where two worlds come together every 7 years, and someone born of both worlds is the focus of the book.
I like the artwork
Yeah.
by Jacob Rebelka. Forgive me if I butchered that. Written by Steve Orlando.
Back on page 292, we've got a new volume of a series of graphic novels called Copra by Michel Fif. I had the pleasure of meeting him, the creator, at HeroesCon this year. I read the first volume on the drive down there, actually. And Copra,
you did?
Yeah. It was one of several things I was reading while you were paying attention to the road.
Yeah, because I know you're reading because I'm watching the road.
How could you not be looking at what I was reading? While you
Safety
were...
first. Although when I got pulled over, we don't talk about that.
No, we don't. Not on the air, no. But anyway, it's basically a very weird, surreal indie take on the Suicide Squad concept.
Oh, that's right. Now I remember what you're talking about.
Right.
Now why am I pointing at him like Christopher should be pointing at him?
Emphasis.
Emphasis.
So yeah, it's very straight. It's kind of like a fever dream about the Suicide Squad teaming up with an odd assortment of other characters, some of them not even DC characters. Like the first volume has this version of the Suicide Squad teaming up with analogs of Doctor Strange and the Punisher to fight what is basically the Brotherhood of Dada from Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol run. It's got some very strange, disparate elements all thrown together, but and the storytelling, as I said, is kind of odd and surreal, but it works. Somehow he makes it all work. And it's his love for the original Suicide Squad concept, as envisioned by John Ostrander and collaborators, is evident. And he's going into his fourth collection here. This is the sort of thing that if the Indie Spinner Rack were still, functioning as a podcast, this is something they'd be drooling over. And I enjoy it quite a bit myself. So I'm ordering Volume 4.
I'm jumping ahead to page 324. Shane, take a look at this from Diamond Entertainment. James Robinson, 5-issue series, Grand Passion. I love the concept. Harlequin romance, those legendary trashy softcover novels, meets hard-boiled crime. The surprising, funny, violent, and sexy tale of romance that comics have been missing. Doc's a cop, Mabel's a crook. They're two wayward souls, fated to fall in love at first sight, even as Mabel swears to kill Doc if it's the last thing she does. It's Harlequin romance meets hard-boiled crime, as only James Robinson could deliver. Art by Tom Feister, which looks fantastic.
Yeah.
That looks like one panel they're masquerading as a pregnant woman and a priest. I'm looking forward to this. I mean, after Robinson's maestro turn on Airboy, did you read Airboy, Shane?
I had the first issue. I haven't read the rest.
Oh, God! Shane, I'll get you. You want me to get you a hardcover?
No.
Do you have them all?
No, I don't.
Okay, we'll rectify that.
All right.
Oh, Shane.
All right.
Airboy is tremendous. Oh, okay. Look forward to talking about that.
I thought I was going to leap over the table and hit you in the head.
Well, I'm guilty of just as many omissions in my reading life.
Yeah.
Next page. Shane, appreciate this too. Jeff Parker, who did a wonderful job in the Flash Gordon series that Dynamite did recently, is returning to the character with Jesse Ham from Batman 66, Flash Gordon, Mandrake the Magician, and the Phantom.
Yeah. King's Cross
That looks fun.
Ooh, right next page, Shane, some Battlestar stuff. This is a new, quote-unquote, reimagined Battlestar, Sci-Fi Channel Battlestar, Edward James Olmos Battlestar Galactica, written by Carl Kiesel, guy who doesn't get enough work in comics these days.
That, and then a couple pages later, if I can find it again, there's issue 4 of a Battlestar Galactica series, the old classic Battlestar.
Yep, written by Cullen Bunn, who's also doing Micronauts for
340.
IDW. He's a big fan of that franchise, so I've pre-ordered the first 3 issues of that.
The Myopia on page 330 looks interesting too, written by Richard Dent. Based on a story by Richard Dent. It does say written by him though.
On page 343, I know Scott Beatty has been a supporter of the show. Has anybody read the Sherlock Holmes series that he's been involved in?
No, I haven't.
Because I've heard good things about it, but I've never read it myself. In fact, Matt Triano, one of the artists, was a guest at the last Super Show in 2013. Mm-hmm. He did a wonderful Hawkeye sketch for me that hangs in the shop. Talented artist.
Yeah, on page 343 is the omnibus. For that, might be worth a look, even though it's an omnibus.
I'm going to take a step backwards from Dynamite if we're done there. On page 319, under Chapter House Comics, it's kind of a Canadian comer in the world of comics publishing. Some of us who've been up to the Toronto Fan Expo may remember the True Patriot hardcover anthology of Canadian superhero comics. They've come out with 2 volumes of that so far. It includes Canadian creators like Jay Stevens of Jetcat fame, Jay Torres, our friend Jack Brillo, who hangs out with our other friend Alex Serra, Ramon Perez of the Jim Henson A Tale of Sand, and also, I think, some Hawkeye comics more recently than that. Tom Fowler. This is now being turned into an ongoing series, True Patriot Presents, and the first issue of that is offered this month. It's got a Jay Stevens story about a character called Arrowhead, and Jay Bone and Jay Torres do something with their characters Grey Owl and Tundra. Also, a character called Gull Girl. So it's 100% authentic Canadian content here, folks. So yes, I'll be buying that too. I'm sure Jack is going to have his character in a future issue.
The True Patriot?
True Patriot.
I want to point
True
out on page
Patriot
358,
What
from
page?
358 from Fantagraphics, a complete collection of the work of Fletcher Hanks.
Oh, right. Stardust the Super Wizard.
Yes, Murd, why don't you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, Fletcher Hanks is just celebrated for being one of the most bizarre creators of the golden age of comics. He produced some the Stardust, the Super Wizard, is his best known character, but it's just really strange, almost stream of consciousness stuff. There's not much linearity to it. It's just very odd. Like the Stardust, the Super Wizard, is this very powerful being who just kind of flies from planet to planet and makes people's heads grow extremely large and explode and just.
It's not your typical Golden Age fairy.
It's feverish in its strangeness. And so this is a collection of some, well, I'm assuming there will be some Stardust stories in here because that's who's featured in that panel off to the right-hand side in the solicitation, and also some other stuff of his that's not Stardust-related. There was actually a collection of his Stardust work that came out several years ago. It was entitled something like, I Shall Destroy All the Civilized Worlds.
Yeah, I remember that. Bill was a big fan of that book.
Yeah, I think it was our friend Stuart, Wet Rats on the forums, who first, or you know what? It wasn't he. It was one of the Taylor brothers who first told us about when they were attending one of our events. I've since bought it. I haven't been in quite the unusual frame of mind to experience it properly, but one of these days I'll get to it. Meanwhile, if you'd like to sample his work for yourself, here's a new collection of it for you to buy and enjoy from Fantagraphics Books.
I'm jumping way ahead, and obviously we can jump back. I just want to point out, page 433 is dedicated to Tomorrow's publishing products. You've heard us rave about this company many times on the air. I'm a strong proponent of their mission in terms of exploring and celebrating the history of this medium we all love and many of the creators and characters. This page is just a pitch-perfect example of why Tomorrow's is essential reading for any fan of comic book history and the various creators. I mean, you've got Alter Ego, which is Roy Thomas's legendary magazine, which addresses the Golden and Silver Age primarily. You've got Back Issue, which touches upon the Bronze Age and forward. Comic Book Creator, number 11, celebrating the legendary Gil Kane. They offered again their take on Sal Buscema. The wonderful Age of TV Heroes hardcover, which is a pants giving the thumbs up. That's just a hoot of a book.
That's a great book.
Celebrating a lot of the 1960s and 70s superhero television shows. The Flash Companion, a great history of that character. A history of the Filmation Animation Company. Modern Masters, John Romita Jr. I mean, anybody who loves comics and its history, support this company. All right? Just try one of these books. You will not be disappointed. That's my Tomorrow's rant. Thank you.
Mert, it looks like, and I think they solicited this before, on 378 from Disney Books is Disney the Muppets collection, the comic book collection. So if you missed any of them.
Yeah, writer-artist Disney.
Yeah.
Is how they, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the Roger Langridge
That's
stuff,
what I think so, too.
which we've seen before.
Yeah.
On the opposite page, though, they're from Kodansha Comics. This is the third time they've tried soliciting this, but it's a one-shot volume of manga based on the anime series Space Dandy, which had the distinction, as I think I've mentioned on earlier episodes, of being the rare Japanese animated series that actually premiered on American television before it did.
Really?
On Japanese TV.
Interesting.
It's from the makers of Cowboy Bebop, and it's about
Danielle loves Cowboy Bebop.
a freewheeling, womanizing, pompadour-wearing alien bounty hunter of aliens. He finds new alien species, brings them in for registration, and then he takes his paycheck directly to his favorite outer space restaurant, Boobies. And he has a robot sidekick and an alien sidekick, and it's strange fun. And I've tried to order this thing from Kodansha twice now. It's been canceled and resolicited twice. Hopefully, third time's a charm.
On page 439, under Valiant, Harbinger Renegades #1. Look at that Derek Robertson art.
Yeah.
Of course, you know his work from Transmetropolitan, The Boys. This is, wow, stunning artwork.
Yep.
And Jamie D is frowning upon me now as I say this. Valiant is a publisher I have yet to take the time to really explore, and I know I should. So that has to be rectified.
Morone, he would say.
Fantastic.
Yes, Jamie is. There are a few bigger Valiant boosters than RJ
He was a
Media
great proselytizer for Valiant.
On page 440 from Valiant, a new series called Savage, written by B. Clay Moore of Hawaiian Dick, art by Clayton Henry. It appears to answer the burning question, what if David Beckham and Posh Spice had somehow crashed into the Lost Land instead of Turok and Andor? Because it's about a celebrity British football player and his supermodel wife ending up in a world of dinosaurs, and how they lose their humanity while they're trapped there. Interesting notion, and since it is a Valiant Universe thing, one has to assume that there's some connection to Turok.
Anything else from in the comics, gentlemen?
I'm going to take a look at page 414 here from Titan Comics. Their new line of comics based on Hammer Films, or, well, not based on exactly, but continuing in the tradition of Hammer Films of the late 60s and early 70s, blowing some of the dust off the old Universal Monsters concepts and making them scary again for new generations. Peter Milligan is writing the first issue of a series called The Mummy. Is going to have bear no resemblance to any previous take on The Mummy, I'm sure. This ain't Boris Karloff. But he's in here trying to make the idea of bandaged corpses shambling around on the earth scary. And if anybody can do it, I should think he would be able to. So I will give that a try.
Shane, I'm jumping ahead. We can always jump back to page 491. I thought of you when I saw these T-shirts. They finally put It's a Trap.
Yeah.
Looks like it's the Al Williamson art from the adaptation of Return of the
does.
Jedi. Actually, these are both Marvel images. The Darth Vader shirt is a Marvel image as well. I forgot what issue. It's a cover image. And then they have a great, on page 494, a great retro Lando Calrissian T-shirt.
I like
Very
the
70s.
the Gizmoduck one as well.
Love the design.
Which is funny because Lando didn't come in till the 80s, but whatever.
That's true. 1980. He just missed the 70s.
He did.
Probably shooting in 79.
True. Very true, brother.
With some Colt 45 malt liquor.
I just wanted to point out, because it's Ghostbusters, on page 507, the fact they've now made a Walter Peck action figure, I think is just a great thing.
Yeah.
My name is Peck.
Well, that's what I heard. That's such a great
God,
movie.
it never gets old. Anything else from the back of the book, gentlemen, that jumped out at you?
I'm good.
I am good as well.
Murd?
We all good.
And Pantaloons, I think we've shot our bolt.
All right. Well, do you gentlemen want to re-mention?
Would you
Remind
like to
our
re-mention
listeners?
the mentioning of the mentions?
Or off-the-rack picks. So we're all going to be reading Thanos, #1
Thanos.
from Marvel. Motor Girl #1 from Abstract Studios by
Correct.
Terry Moore. And then for our individual picks, Murd, you're doing Batman
Annual #1 from DC.
Shane,
Doing Mask #1 from IDW.
and I'm doing Avengers 1.1 from Marvel. So that'll be in November.
Excellent. All right. Well, those were our highlights of the previous catalog. Place your orders accordingly.
And hopefully before the end of the month.
That's right. All right, and once again, this episode was brought to you by Discounts Comic Book Service. Go to dcbservice.com for all your pre-ordering needs.
Visit us at comicgeekspeak.com to send us an email. The address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. To leave a voicemail, the number is 267-702-6642. Stop by thecomicforums.vanillaforums.com and let us know what we missed out of previews or what you're ordering or what looks fancy to you. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. Thanks to everyone who contributes to the episode and sends us neat little things, even though it's not necessary. It is greatly appreciated. I'm so excited to have Vision 4, you can't believe. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.
You got it on Wednesday, and you was psyched about it going to the volume up. These guys will talk about it, everything that geeks love. From capes to laser beams, opinions like the seasons on everything.